Whipped feta with tomatoes, some roasted peppers thrown in, and a killer dressing you are gonna love. Inspired by Aisha, the queen of rip and dip and the head chef at the amazing Chouquette in New York. I've made this slightly different because it's more of a salad than a dip. Honestly, make it, you're gonna love it. Let's start with the whipped feta. This is just a perfect dip for any time, but it also makes a perfect base for salad like we're gonna make today. Vegetables, just to have on the side, to have in the fridge for a snack. You name it, you can use it. So to whip this feta, I'm gonna add some sheep's milk feta, which tends to be actually creamier than goat's milk. And this was one that was soaked in brine. I want it to be softer so that it whips better. And to that, I'm gonna add some full-fat Greek yogurt, some lemon zest, a smidge of olive oil just to help with the creaminess, and a small pinch of salt, not too much because the feta's quite salty. So this is an unwaxed lemon that I washed. This is just gonna give it a little zing, trickle of olive oil, and I'm going to give it a little head start with. I'm going to add an almost equal amount of Greek yogurt. This is full fat because I believe, you know, full fat will go home, and the salt, just a little pinch. Here we go. That is perfectly whipped. Phase 2 of the salad, I'm going to finish chopping my tomatoes. I'm going to add these roasted red peppers that I made earlier. If you haven't got roasted red peppers, you can use a jar here. No judgment. So I've got this collection of tomatoes that I've almost finished chopping. I mean, they should be roughly the same size, but they can all be different shapes. I feel like every summer I have a new tomato salad to offer. Right, so here are my peppers that I roasted under the grill in my oven. Then I allowed to cool, covered in a bowl with cling film, took their skins off, so the skins were completely black, and now I'm just roughly chopping them. These are gonna add a sweetness, a different sweetness to the tomatoes. I am gonna pour over a splash of sherry vinegar. You can, with pleasure, use red wine if you prefer, and I'm just gonna let them sit in this just for a minute, let the acid do its work. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. I'm going to give it a good stir, let them all become friends. I'm going to move these over here and make some room. Let's put the feta down as the base. The thing about this dish, which is really amazing, it's got chili, anchovies, garlic. It's like a chili crisp almost, some capers. It's going to make them sizzle. So I'm going to smear this on my plate, and I'm going to leave a little well for the tomatoes. Let's get dressing. This is one of the rare occasions that I don't actually use confit garlic because I want the garlic slices. They're going to crisp up with the anchovy, and then we're going to put the capers in. It's going to give it a lovely bite. But as always with garlic, that you do not burn it. It is the crucial part of this dish. So I love this gadget, right? I'm going to put a nice amount of olive oil in the bottom of this frying pan, and I don't want it to get hot. And we're going to add the garlic cloves, some anchovy fillets straight in. Now, if you are an anchovy hater, you're still going to love this because these are going to melt. You're not even going to know they're there. Going to add a little bit of Aleppo pepper, and we're going to keep this on quite a low heat and literally let it all cook down. So the anchovies are going to melt. The garlic is going to go ever so lightly golden. Just as they are beginning to golden, you can help the anchovies along a little bit here. I've put in Aleppo pepper. If you don't have Aleppo, you can use chili flakes, but just use a little bit less. So those are beginning to go golden. I'm going to take my very handy espresso spoon, and I'm going to add some capers in. They're also going to just toast up in this oil and add a fantastic sharp bite to the sweetness of the tomatoes and the peppers. And it's going to work amazingly. Bubbling away nicely. I'm going to catch the garlic just before it gets any darker. And that point, when the anchovies are fully melted, we are going to add this hot sauce to our tomatoes. That is cooked. I'm going to pour this hot sizzle. Can you hear that? Over. Scrape off every last bit of anchovy from the bottom of the pan and give it a really good turnaround in the oil. Just before we plate, I've got some walnuts here that I toasted in the oven earlier for about 10 minutes. You must toast your nuts. They're going to add some really welcome crunch. I've got 60 grams here, and I'm going to use half now and then half for garnish. I'm going to add some mint. It's going to add some green. It's going to add some freshness. This is rough. This is casual. This is really going to be your dish of the summer. I can feel it already. Let's give this one last zhuzh. Let it tumble all over. I'm going to dress it around the sides a little bit. Do not waste any of this dressing. The last few walnuts and around the edge, a little bit more mint, and then time to eat. Final sprinkling of salt. This was inspired by my meal at Chouquette when I was in New York in March, where I had this whipped feta with the roasted red peppers that was absolutely unbelievable. Served with the famous faena bread. I'm gonna eat this your way. Got a little za'atar flatbread here, and I'm gonna dig in to the bottom, feta, walnuts, tomatoes, just like that, and a bit of everything in one mouthful. It's the only way to eat. We are wasting nothing. To never miss a recipe like this, make sure you're subscribed.